Welcome back, everyone, to the After the Scales podcast, episode 76, presented by DJD Graphics. I'm Jacob Dubb of Phenom Motorsports, along with Shaun Blight of Canadian Racing Tours. And on today's episode, we're going to be previewing the 64th annual Knoxville Nationals with sprint car driver Corbin Gurley. Corbin, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
So, Corbin, obviously, I've known you for a couple of years now, and you've really shined from going through the micro ranks. You ran the midget, run 360 sprint cars and some 410s. You recently ran at Eldora this past weekend. Eldora is a super cool place. Very cool to watch sprint cars rip around Eldora. Just talk about your experience. You came home with a seventh place finish. Just talk about your night.
You know, um, so last Saturday, I really wanted to win that thing. So I came with some high expectations and some good goals set for myself. And I knew the team was going to be locked down because here previously, our 360 program has been pretty dang good. So I was excited. It was my second time at Eldora, and the first time I think I finished 11th, and then here previously I finished 7th. So that was a huge accomplishment. I wanted to make the show, and we went out to qualify, or we went to hot lap, and I got stuck behind somebody. So I was kind of the team was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I caught him." So we went into qualifying, kind of not just saying throwing the book at it, but I knew I was good. Um, my only thing was maybe gear, but it worked out well. We went out to qualify. I was the last car to go out in the first flight, I'm pretty sure, and went second quick. And to explain that a little bit, I know with big half miles and big tracks, you got to get your momentum, especially in these 360s. So I ran the top the first lap, and second lap I kind of hit if you want to call it, a slider line a little bit, and was pretty good. And then the heat race started on the pole, and I had a lot of confidence by then since we went second quick. So I was like, I'm just gonna send this thing. So I won that, was really hyped, and we got up to the pill draw for the redraw system, and I was a little bit disappointed. I drew a bad number, so. Um, I think I drew a 13, and it's the lowest pill starts on the pole, so not so good there. And on the start there, I thought I was going to be a hero banging it off the wall, but you got to drive those things really straight. So on those big tracks, especially at Eldora, you got to drive it straight because it has a little bit of characteristic in it.
Yeah, so we have to give a little bit of a shout out to Darren Dryden, who sponsors our podcast. And I rode down with Darren. He's a good buddy of mine and Jacob's. And I mean, absolute heartbreaking race for that guy. He led a lot of the race and got slid by Scotty Thiel in the last turn of the last lap and lost it, but he was still super pumped. So I just wanted to throw that in there for Darren. Corbin, have you raced with the 410 on any of those big tracks? And how different is it going from the 360 to a 410 on a big track like that?
So yeah, I haven't ran Eldora or Knoxville or anything, but I have ran some big tracks. Here recently, actually, I went down to PA and raced at a Tri-City. And I want to say with big tracks, everything's just momentum, and the 410 you can make a mistake, but still there's so much momentum and wing speed involved, so it's harder to come back from your mistake. And I haven't raced many half miles. I think it was my fourth or fifth time running a half mile. So, you know, I'm a short track guy because ever around the Midwest is basically short tracks, besides if you go to Knoxville and stuff. So when I raced here previously at Tri-City and PPMS, the biggest thing was try not to turn the car because the wing will just do it all for you. So, that was the biggest thing that I had to learn. And unfortunately, when we were at Tri-City, blew the oil pan off of it, so I couldn't continue my night there. But we were really fast. I was about to win my heat race.
And off the racetrack, Corbin, obviously I know you have been busy with your college efforts. Would you say, college takes up a lot of your time, being someone who went to college too and just graduated last year? Would you say that takes a lot of your time because 410s are, basically all year round. You have to be all invested 100% in running a series like the World of Outlaws or, the High Limit series. Would you say, once you get past that, college degree goal of yours, that you'll be able to run an All Stars series one day like your uncle Van Gurley Jr.?
Yeah, once I'm done with this, I'm about done. I got one more semester left and I'm done with college for good. So thankfully, I'll have more time to do some racing and work on the car. And I guess I could say I don't want to just jump straight into high limit and stuff. I don't know if we have, necessarily all the funds to do that because those guys got some top-notch stuff. And I would like to run the All-Stars deal because it's a little bit more towards home. The biggest stretch is probably like Pennsylvania and New York. So that'd be fun for me and get some good experience. I'd like to do it once. Right now, we're currently running with the IRA, and it's been a blast. So yeah, I think for my goal, I just want to build myself up, get some good races in, and hopefully somewhere in the timeline I can be picked up or something like that by a big team. But it takes a lot of grinding and effort. So.
And you've done quite a lot of racing so far this year. For those of us who haven't seen you race a whole lot, and you're just looking at your My Race Pass results, it looks like the last couple months you've been really consistent, just kind of finding a bit of a groove. How would you summarize your season so far?
To summarize my season, I guess the first half wasn't the greatest. I mean, our 360 program was pretty good. We were running pretty consistent down in Florida earlier this year. And with the IRA stuff, we had some issues, some just technical issues, which put us behind the eight ball a little bit for points. And now that we kind of got it all figured out, and I got to give a big shout out to Jeff Claxton, who does my motor program and all that. He's he's been grinding. He will take his shirt off his back for us. So it's been awesome having him on our side and dynoing and all that and getting everything fixed. So big shout out to him. But we got everything solved, I'm gonna say, so far, and we've been actually progressively getting better and better. And I don't want to say, I guess that first half, I had this weird feeling in this on my 410 cars. So we got to get that to Bieber's and go get that tuned up and tweaked. So we just had that little issue, and then now I'm feeling a lot better and a lot more confident in my race car and what my dad and my mechanic Hunter does for me. So it's going well, and I expect some bigger results here coming up because I feel like clicking away at it, and we're really close. So I'm just excited to keep digging forward.
And Corbin, you mentioned your dad. For the viewers that might not know, you come from a big family of racers. Growing up there in Indiana. When I think of Indiana, I think of racing. So just talk about you go way back to your grandfather actually racing, and this past weekend I was actually at an asphalt track here in Florida that your grandpa used to race midgets at way back in the day. So talk about your grandpa. Talk about your uncle Van Gurley Jr. Your dad Chris, who. It seems like just yesterday he was running the non-wing sprint cars, and now he's helping you out and trying to give you the best abilities to carry on your racing career.
Yeah, so I believe starting with my grandpa, I don't remember the specific year or anything like that, but he used to run, I think, just a stock car on asphalt. And then he got into dirt racing a little bit and raced midgets and sprint cars around the Midwest. And, he did pretty good for, what he had. And back in the day, I'm sure it wasn't easy because those all just wheeling the things. So, yeah, so then he had my dad and my uncle. And my uncle was pretty big within the All Stars for a couple of years. He did really good. I think he's got a couple top tens with the All Stars, even a victory, a Speed Week win at Lima Land. So that was pretty cool. And having that experience that he has and telling me stories, it's just always I'm grateful to be able to hear those stories. And then my dad raced wing at first a little bit with the All Stars, Outlaws whenever they came in town, and I think he was pretty decent, but didn't have enough laps in a wing car to keep going. And he then jumped into a non-wing car, ran Kokomo, Gas City, Terre Haute, and he was all right in that. I think I'm better than my dad. So Yeah, I mean, that's basically the storyline. And then my dad gave me a great opportunity. When I was in high school or middle school and elementary school, I always seen this yellow car sit in the garage. My mom wasn't having it. She did not like that idea of me having a race car. So finally, once I got to the age, my dad was like, "We're gonna go do some go-kart racing before you jump into a micro or a sprint car, whatever the deal was." And I was really excited to hear that because I enjoyed going to the races and watching my dad. And he scared me a couple times when I was a kid. So at Kokomo, especially, he'd flip pretty gnarly there. So that scared me, but I was ready. My dad was like, "We're gonna go do some go-kart racing." So I local track, Michiana Raceway Park here in thing near South Bend, Mishawaka area, I think. And we did a little bit of that, clicking out of way. I think I got my first win, but there wasn't like hardly any competition, so I don't really count it as a win. And then he's like, "Let's go travel a little bit." And so we started doing some bigger races with some regional and national go-kart events in New Orleans and Florida and all that shenanigans. So that was really fun, and I'm thankful that my dad gave me that opportunity. Or I wish we could have started a little bit earlier on in my career, but that's okay. I'm still learning and clicking at it away. So the only thing I will say is if I wanted to race on dirt, it had to be the number 12. And that was my mom's whole idea. She was like, if you're going to race, you have to have number 12 because it's her birthday. So we put number 12 on the car and started clicking away in the restricted class around Logan Sport and Circle City, I'm pretty sure, or Circus City, sorry. And that was really fun. Got my first win probably, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, I think. And we moved up and continuously progressing, moved on to the open class and started getting more better, confident, jumped in a non-wing micro. And I think my dad was tired of it. So he was like, "We're going to go sprint car racing." I think my last win was at Gas City at a USAC show. It was they had a non-wing micros there and I won that thing. And I told the crowd when I won, I was like, "I want to race sprint cars. This is fun." So we did that, jumped into the 360. I think I scared my dad at Atomic. Um, he about jumped out of his pants when we were racing there. He was like, "You got too comfortable too quick. You need to settle down, bud." So, it was fun. Um, yeah, just started clicking away, and then a couple months later, we started racing 410s, and unfortunately, I broke my back the first year I started racing, and it was a big, huge ordeal with my mom. And you want to keep doing this? I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do it." So we did it, and I feel like I'm just keep clicking away at it, and it's been a hell of an adventure, and I'm just very grateful to have this opportunity.
Yeah, so you're running the IRA sprints full time this year. You've done some all-star races. I know you've done at least one high limit race, the one at Butler. You almost made the show there. Um, what would you say like your goals going into this year, just improving as a driver? What were some of the things that you were looking to improve on?
I think the biggest one is qualifying. With nowadays how we're racing, qualifying is so important. So, I just wanted to qualify better, put a night together. I'd say I wanted to be more aggressive as a driver. I wanted to, you know, take advantage of restarts and starts and stuff like that. So, those were a couple of goals in my mind. And of course, trying to make the big shows, that's pretty hard to do when you have very minimal laps, but we're getting there, and that's basically like my main goals. And obviously with the IRA, I just wanted to secure being the top 10 for points and advance higher if I could. And right now we're sitting, I think, 11th in points, and we're like 100 points shy from getting into 10th. And we've just been getting after it here. So I've been better. I'd say that I think Mississippi Thunder Speedway was probably a good highlight of this year, like my favorite racetrack of all time. It's like a mini Eldora. I've never been there until this year, and I had my best or I tied my best IRA result. So, those are some of my goals, learning as a driver, and also something that I think goes unnoticed a little bit. Some of these drivers um taking care of their program and stuff like that. It's just me, my dad, and Hunter. We're a three-man team. So my dad is obviously at work most of the time, so he doesn't really get to help out a ton. But I'd say, I wanted to improve of knowing the knowledge around sprint cars a little bit. So, these past 2 years, it's just been a three-man team. So it's been really exciting and fun learning sprint cars as well and how to get around them and stuff. So I say those are my main goals for this year.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because every time you and your dad and your crew would come down to Florida for speed weeks and hanging out with you guys, honestly, your dad's been a crucial part in taking some time to show me and learn some things that I didn't know about certain parts of the whole sprint car racing as a whole. So obviously, with sprint car racing right now, I think we're at a really good time in the sport. Obviously, way back in the day, it was a lot different, but with the rising cost, seems like a lot more people are getting involved in it, including yourself. Just talk about some of the other drivers. Obviously, we have guys like Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, David Gravel that are on the top of their game. Who are some drivers that you look up to that might have given you some advice, or guys that you kind of watch to kind of learn from?
So I think was it last year at Route 66 in Chicago, I was not feeling the car setup wasn't feeling so great, and so we're trying throwing the notebook at it, trying everything we can, and I went up to Gio Selzy and asked him, and he was actually a really genuine guy and helped me out. I understand those guys are racing for points and they're at it every single day of the week, and that he especially took his time out of his day to help us out, even though he was chasing for points. And I'd say another guy would be Jacob Allen. Jacob Allen's a really good dude all around. Um, I got to hang out with him a little bit more recently, I guess, last or this previous winter. He ran at Southern Raceway and I got to talk to him and meet everybody. So he was really cool. He's a big inspiration, what he went through a couple of years ago about just kind of leaving the sport because, he had a kid and, it's getting hard. I know being on the road is super hard. You can't be with family all the time. So, those are, I say, my two biggest inspirations in this sport because they're just great, genuine guys, and they'll talk to you and take the time of your day to talk to you and make it feel like they actually want to talk to you. So those guys are definitely my two biggest inspirations. I can always go way back to, old time Donnie Schatz. I love watching that dude wheel a race car, sorry, voice crack. And yeah, that's gonna be my top three right there.
Yeah, I know Jacob and I, we're big Jacob Allen guys, especially we've had both of the Torgesons on and Ashton Torgeson. Um, he speaks very highly of Jacob and how he's helped his transition into a full-time 410. Um, what are some of your goals? You mentioned maybe getting on a touring series. I know there's still time left in this season, but is there anything you're maybe looking forward to for next year already?
Um, next year I think we're gonna take the route of just going everywhere we can. We don't want to be tied down with the series, I guess you would say. The IRA is a great, great series. Um, love Steve Sinclair a lot. He's a great dude, and that's another guy that would take his shirt off and take his shirt off his back. So they're a great series, but I want to do everything a little bit. I want to do the All Stars. Power Ride's been rising here recently. They got a pretty decent group to run with, and IRA, obviously, I want to run some IRA shows, but I'd say we just want to kind of run wherever, we want to get laps at all these places so we can create notebooks for them.
And before we talk about the Knoxville Nationals, Corbin, obviously, rocking my Corbin Gurley shirt here that you gave me a couple of years ago. Really appreciate it. You got some new merch out with your new cool white and blue scheme that you kept. Just talk to our viewers about, if they wanted to buy some merch, where they can find you.
Yeah, so if you want to buy the merch, obviously, I don't got a merch tent or anything like that. So if you're on the track, if you're on the area, I would be more than welcome to sell you a shirt and get to know you some more, and hopefully create a fan base going on. So as well as I have a website, corbingurley.com, and I don't know if we still sell hats on the website, but we should get to that. We got shirts, crew necks, we got some long sleeves, I'm pretty sure, and sweatshirts. So check it out.
Yeah, and
All right.
we'll make sure we put the link in our show notes, and we'll put the link at the bottom of the screen too, so so people don't forget and go check out Corbin's merch.
All right, so our next segment is something new since we have the Knoxville Nationals this weekend. We're going to be doing our Knoxville picks presented by Volkswagen Audi. Gotta give a shout out to Corbin's family. So, yeah, Corbin, quickly before we talk about who we think might be really good this week at Knoxville, talk about Knoxville as a whole. It's the biggest sprint car race of the year. It's a 1.8 million purse. Once you win there, you go down in history. Just talk about what it means to watch and be at a Knoxville Nationals.
Um, it is quite special. I've never been to Knoxville at all, so I'm looking forward to getting there one year. But it is the granddaddy of them all. Like Jacob said, it's got the probably the highest paying purse in a sprint car history. And it's just so special, like you said, you win there and it marks it down. You've won there, baby. So it's definitely a technical track, those half miles, everything. Like I said, you have to drive the car straight, and it's hard to do, but you're going so dang fast, so it's really hard to do. But it takes a lot of laps, I feel like, to get around Knoxville pretty good. Just if you watch people, it's just incredible. Like the fast guys, it's incredible what they do. The slightest the slightest turns on the steering wheel can just screw your momentum up, and here comes somebody else flying around the inside or outside of you. So that place is really special. I'd like to go there once to check it out as a fan or a race car driver. And like you basically explained, it's just very special for everybody else in the sport, and it's just something everybody wants to win at. It's just one of those races that you just got to win.
Yeah, so we're recording this. Obviously, or if you're watching this, it's Thursday at the earliest. We're recording this Wednesday, 8:40 Eastern. So when we make our picks, we have no prior knowledge of anything that's going on. We do know that our buddy Danny Sams is his prelim night is tonight. We want to wish him good luck because he's had a rough year, and we're pulling for Danny. Hope he makes the show. Who wants to go first, Jacob? Who gets the honors?
I mean, I have it written down here, so I guess I'll go
All right, go
first
ahead.
there. But I mean, my top three podium finishes come Saturday are pretty obvious. They're all guys that are on the top of the game right now. I would say for my third place finisher, it's a guy that has picked up some speed here recently, coming back from Australia. He's in really good equipment. The Tarleton 21, James McFadden gets third place on Saturday. Book it. He's been really good at the 360 Nationals. He's been really picking it up here. Second place is probably who everybody's going to be picking this weekend to try to go three in a row for the first time in Knoxville history, and that's Kyle Larson. I think he comes up just one spot short this year. And for my winner, I think that it's going to be somebody that has been really good this year. He's been really picking up the past couple years, and it's going to be Rico Abreu. Him and Ricky Warner have been hitting on all strides. And I feel like Rico hasn't really run a crown jewel race like this before. He's won some real big money races in his career, but nothing at this caliber. So I think Rico gets it done.
All right, Corbin, why don't you go ahead?
I'm gonna say for third, I'm gonna go with Rico. Like Jacob said, he's been incredibly fast and picking up the pace. Him and Ricky Warner have been clicking. So they've been really fast. I think to pick the second spot, I want to go for Kyle Larson. He's been incredibly fast. I know a lot of people um, despise him because he's such a I don't even know what to say. He's just so bad fast. So I'm gonna pick my number one spot, Gio Selza. He's really good there, and it's kind of to me an underdog pick. I think he can do it. He's been fast, and I know that 7BC team is incredibly fast. So I'm looking forward to this. I really want to see Gio win. I think that place would burn down if Gio won the Nationals. I think it'd be really cool to see him win because after was it last year he finished second?
Yeah.
Um, you
Us
can
two, I
just
think.
tell,
Last 2 years, I think.
yeah, you can just tell the emotions involved that he wants to get it done. He wants to win the Nationals, and I think it shows a lot when drivers kind of get emotional like that. I think it's good. It shows people how bad people really want it.
So I picked Gio to win the Knoxville Nationals back around Christmas time. We did our Christmas show. And I picked Gio to win the Knoxville Nationals. Um, I'm going to backpedal a little bit because um, he's with a brand new team. I think that's a tall ask. I still think he's going to run well. I think he's going to have a top 10. Um, but I've got Larson third. I can't believe you guys have not mentioned David Gravel. Um, he is one of the masters on half miles right now. I picked him to win at Eldora for the Kings Royal, and I'm picking him again, Anthony Macri. I want to see some history made this year, and here's where I'm going with this. I think if Anthony Macri wins the Knoxville Nationals, he could also turn around and win the National Open in October. So I would pick. He could even win the Tusky, and like I think that would be really cool. I just think Macri is like those guys are dialed right now. His confidence has never been higher. I just like where he's at. I'm taking Macri.
Well, if Macri wins, he definitely has to run High Limit or World of Outlaws next
Hey, or just keep winning the big races.
year. Yeah.
He could be the Brent Marks this year. I've got a feeling that he's going to make a statement here at Knoxville.
Well, before we let you go, Corbin, you've been an awesome guest, and we've been looking forward to having you on for a while now. Glad you made time for us. So, before you go, we have our DJD Gear rapid fire segment. I'm going to fire off 10 questions to you. Just come up with the first answer. So, whenever you're ready, I'll fire them off to you. So, this one's kind of a fun question. Would you ever live in the tree house at Butler Motor Speedway if you could?
Oh, heck yeah, I would. You know, do you still hear me? Oh yeah, there we go. Heck yeah, I would. Yeah,
What's your earliest memory as a kid at the races?
I'd say being in the Kokomo pits and playing with the little die-cast cars out in the pits. So I think that was one of my greatest memories. I guess there's a second competitor. I know Kokomo used to sell these little blue helmets, these little plastic helmets. So I hopped in my dad's race car and I got a picture of me wearing that helmet. So I think that was a really good memory as well.
All right, so you've raced all three of these, but between sprint cars, midgets, or micros, which is the most challenging to race?
Sprint cars for sure.
And which is more prestigious in your opinion, Knoxville Nationals or the Chili Bowl?
Knoxville Nationals for sure, because I feel like it's got a way bigger viewpoint for everybody to see.
Who is the favorite girly child in the family, you or your sisters?
I'm gonna have to say with my sisters,
Who has the best dad jokes, your dad or your Uncle Van?
my Uncle Van for sure. He's a really funny guy.
What's your favorite song or artist right now?
And I just don't really have favorites. I mean, I could say, I love the dad rock era. I think that's my favorite. I don't know really what to say for that. But I'll send it. Treaty Oak Revival. I've been digging their like country rock deal. So I think that's gotta be my favorite right now.
Sure. And you said you're almost done with school, so what's your least favorite subject in college?
I think the class I'm taking right now, which is Statistics 1.
Yeah, math is not fun.
I I don't like numbers. Only when it comes to race cars, I like numbers, but none of that stuff.
So back in Florida when we were hanging out, you said you really enjoyed your time going to Disney. So what's your favorite amusement park there?
Whatever the one with the Star Wars land, I'm a huge Star Wars geek. So if anyone wants to know that, I'm a huge Star Wars geek. So whatever one that is, I can't remember it.
All right, so we talked about Team Volkswagen Audi. So what's your dream Audi or exotic car?
Audi R8 for sure. I think I'd look pretty pimp sitting in one of those. I think that's on my, that's one of my dream cars right there.
All right, and the last one, What's your go-to post-race adult beverage? I know you said you ran out at home, so you can be sipping on right now, but what's a good one after the races?
A nice cold bush latte, nice bush light. I think those taste great after the races, especially being all sweaty and dirty. So I think bush lattes for sure.
So you said speaking of that, you've been to Eldora a couple times to race. Have you done the toilet water or the Royal Flush? And if you have, which one of those do you like the best?
I have not had any of those. I just don't have time. I don't have time coming back down. They're probably closed. But I think my girlfriend had the toilet water or the toilet flush, whatever it's called. So she said it was really good.
Well, if you're coming back down for Four Crown, man, maybe there's an opportunity there. You haven't been to Eldora until you've had a toilet water.
Heck yeah, I'll have to check it out. I will say the jalapeno cheese balls
Oh,
are insane.
oh, good.
Those
Oh, good.
those are so good. I mean, it might create an addiction for me going to Eldora to just get those. Me and my mechanic Connor, we were chewing on those the whole entire night. So those are really fantastic.
Yeah, so was I. I introduced them to the Drydens, and I became their new favorite person, I think, after they tried those.
All right, Corbin, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're going to be cheering you on the rest of this year. Yeah, best of luck moving forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Scales is proudly presented by DJD Graphics. From commercial and personal vehicles to racing bikes and cars of all makes, models, and disciplines, DJD Graphics can fully customize your vehicle to suit your needs. For more information, contact Darren and visit his website at www.djdgraphics.com. Tell him Shaun and Jacob sent you to receive special rates.